Welcome to the Sports Card Talk Show. Sports Card Talk Show with Kevin Anderson and Lauren Walker, the Skol Brothers.
Welcome to episode 65 of the Sports Card Talk Show. We have Friday Night Lights interview night tonight. Who do we got coming on tonight?
Bobby at Cronan Card Breaks on YouTube and Instagram.
Cool, man. I think we should dial him up, huh?
Ring-a-ling-ding-dong.
All right, we got Bobby from Cronan Card Breaks on the line with us. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Bobby.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Pleasure to be here. Very honored.
We're glad to have you on, man. So I think we'll jump right into some questions here, if that's good with you.
Absolutely.
Well, actually, I noticed you have a Browns jersey on, and you were telling me earlier you're in North Carolina now, so you must have made a move?
I did. It was about 14 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So I'm 42. So, yeah, I mean, I spent a large portion of my life born and raised in Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
And we made a move for family and work to North Carolina, but still die hard no matter what.
Sounds good.
It's probably nicer to be a Cleveland fan down there in the nice weather compared to what you probably grew up with in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was 68 degrees yesterday. It's raining today, but it's still about 50, so it's comfortable.
Rub it in, man. Rub it in.
So let's talk about your collecting history. We got you by a couple of years. I'm curious if you're going to have kind of the same history that we do, which we run into quite a bit. Have you always collected, or were you one of the junk wax era, got away from it, came back?
Yeah, first set I remember getting packs of or collecting was 1987 Topps baseball.
Oh yeah.
Same here, man.
Yeah, absolute my favorite. And yeah, I kind of follow the same line of history as you guys and most others. Collected until the late 90s. My PC kind of turned into a very large Frank Thomas collection.
Oh, yeah.
Living in Cleveland for some reason, I just became I mean, he was my guy. And I had well over 700 something cards of his.
Wow.
And then just stopped. Just stopped collecting altogether. So that's where I stood with it at that point.
You can definitely pick worse guys to PC for sure.
Yeah, Frank Thomas, man, the big hurt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally stand-up guy, just total class. Yeah, Frank Thomas is one of the great players of the 90s for sure.
Right. I did have the opportunity to meet him once at a large card show in Cleveland, the place where they held the Nationals 2 years ago.
Oh, cool.
And it was I was able to get in line and get an autograph, and that was probably about 93. And a great guy. Yeah, he stood there and talked to everybody, asked us where we were from and all that, so it was excellent.
Oh, nice. It's always good to hear those good stories about that kind of stuff. You know, it could always go the other direction, for sure.
Absolutely.
I couldn't imagine Frank Thomas being a jerk though. So
no.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. From what I've heard, and then certainly what I met, and you see him now when he does some of the I think the MLB coverage. And I don't follow baseball really anymore. I really haven't since I moved here. So. But yeah, it's good to still see him sometimes. So
you had to have tuned into the World Series a few years ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to follow the Indians a little bit. I don't get really any coverage here, so
sure.
Then the interest just kind of lost. But always been a diehard football fan, NFL fan, and Browns fan for sure. So
Cool. So you said you got away. What brought you back to collecting?
I thought this question might come up, and I kind of looked back at it. It was almost a year to the day. It was right after New Year's. I found a Packers Card 87 video.
Oh, yep.
And I don't know how I stumbled across it, but I did, and I was like, wow, football cards definitely look so much greater than I remember them looking. I was oblivious to the relics, the autographs, all of this. I swear I knew nothing about it until I came across the video about a year ago. And when I saw it, and I think it was right when Optic was coming out, and I was blown away. And I watched that weekend. I probably watched 100 videos. It was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yes.
It's funny that you say you don't know how you came across it. I feel Ron from R&B Sports Cards says the same. He's like, I was watching YouTube videos one day and I fell in the rabbit hole, the rabbit hole that YouTube can be, You start watching
like semi crashes in the snow. And I switched to something else and that came on and I was mesmerized. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So that got you back into collecting. What is that kind of what catapulted the decision to start the channel? You're like, well, if I'm gonna buy some boxes, I might as well do this. Or how did that come about?
I did after watching some videos, and I thought I would try some retail type stuff. Bought a bunch of stuff off channel. Actually started buying some of the Walgreens little $5 boxes.
Yeah.
And started getting some pretty cool cards out of that. And I was thinking, wow, if I can get this out of this, I'm sure, And it just kind of got the pack ripping juices opened is what it comes down to. For me, it's just ripping packs.
Yeah.
And, it was great. It was great to be able to rip packs and look at cards again, baseball and football. And that's what led to getting some higher end stuff, a little bit of hobby stuff. I do have a local card shop. It's not the greatest. They're currently relocating under new management, and we'll hopefully have a much better selection. But still, they had some packs, some older stuff, and just started getting into some of that, a little bit of retail, and before you know it, I was hooked.
Oh yeah, it's easy to do. I know that for sure.
So you saw that video from Packers Card 87. How soon was it before you shot your first video? Or how soon was it before you went and bought a box or a pack of cards after that?
Well, it wasn't probably a week or so later. I'm a Pepsi guy. And so I have a Walmart that I work every day. I have the same 4 stores. And I walked into Walmart and just walked up and looked at what they had and realized, wow, I didn't know this was ever even here. I probably kind of inadvertently saw it. I probably saw a lot of the yugi-oh.
Yeah.
I just didn't really think about it. And,
right.
And so I bought some. There might have been some Prism out at that time. I think I bought some of that, just a couple blaster boxes, and yeah, that was it. And from there, it wasn't until then I started watching breaks. Then I discovered that was one thing. Then the second part B of this experience was watching breaks, watching some Buck City breaks. Oh
yeah.
And some other guys. I'm like, wow, you can get your team and these high end breaks for a very low amount. I know it's hit or miss, but it was interesting to see that. So
yeah.
Did you buy into any breaks?
I did. Yeah, I started buying into a couple.
Did you hit?
I haven't bought into a ton. I don't buy into a ton. But the Browns were super expensive last year. That was the problem.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were with the Baker Mania. It was outrageous. $110 for a case break of Prism or Optic, and I couldn't afford that. But I tried to where I could.
Right. Absolutely.
I've bought into some breaks, and I never. The one time I bought into Panini Contenders Collegiate for Mike Hughes, who was a corner for the Vikings, and he was from the Florida team that Florida Central, is that what the name? Central Florida, the team that went undefeated for a couple seasons and were complaining that they weren't getting into the college championship. Well, anyway, one time I won 4 Mike Hughes out of like a 2-case break, or 4 boxes or something. I'm like, holy cow, I actually came out okay. Well, you can pick up those for like $1 or $2. So I didn't come out okay. That was like my best break win, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't buy into breaks no more.
So it looks like it must have been a couple months after watching that video that you started yours, because it looks like March of 2018.
It was April. I had given myself like an April 1 deadline. It was kind of fueled by my daughter, Heather.
Okay.
She thought it might be cool if I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I thought I'd give it a try, and she was kind of there initially. You know, she's not the biggest sports fan, but this whole technology, YouTube craze thing, Snapchat, all that, it's, you know, that's kind of her thing. So it was cool at first, and then it's not so much now. But that's
sure.
That's fine.
That's fun though.
Does she watch your videos?
She does sometimes, and you know, and if I put some post on Instagram, she'll kind of check that out.
Give you a thumbs up.
yeah, give me some thumbs up. So I think once I kind of saw the box openings and some of the breaks, I thought I would actually try to give breaking a little try myself. Mm-hmm. And I did. So I kind of branded, you know, the CC breaks thing under the fact that maybe I might try to, you know, get into breaking and try some of that. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Did I want to collect? Did I want to break? Did I want to just be a YouTuber? And I was uncertain of that for most of the summer of this last year. And then I kind of got it straightened out and figured out what I wanted to do. But I did some blaster breaks. I think my first blaster break was a case of 2017 optic blasters. You know, the chase for Mahomes was really hot back in May, June. And, you know, sold the teams on eBay, did a break. That was kind of it from there. And I did a few small ones after that, but I kind of decided to let that go.
Sure. That seems like an awful lot of work.
It is. And I just found out that it just wasn't, you know, it wasn't financially lucrative, you know,
Sure.
If you don't have the means or the background to do it on a high level, that kind of mid-level break-in it just wasn't for me.
Sure.
Did you run into headaches with like people like, I didn't win nothing, I'm not paying you, or, you know, I want my money back or anything like that?
A little bit. It wasn't that bad. It was, I think people who buy in the breaks kind of know what they're expecting. I mean, at least for the most part. I didn't get that. I see that oftentimes. When I do walk. Yeah, but I never really had any issues with it.
Well, that's good. So what is your favorite sport to rip? So when you're opening, what's your favorite sport to open?
My favorite sport's football. 100% football. It's the sport I know, I follow. I've heard you guys talk about fantasy football. I actually didn't do any fantasy football teams this year. I got into some daily leagues. Well, they call them daily, but weekly, you know, some FanDuel leagues this year. And that's been a little nicer. You're able to make adjustments, you know. Football, 100%. Believe it or not, probably kind of followed closely by NASCAR. I am a pretty big NASCAR fan.
Okay.
And that was something else during the spring. I kind of got into I did a couple NASCAR breaks and kind of built a following of some friends. And we would just, you know, go from break to break to break. I did them pretty cheaply for them. Wasn't trying to make money. It was just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
NASCAR cards really produce some amazing, you know, results. Almost all of it's on card. Almost all of it, you know, all the patches are way easier to obtain. Nice fire suit patches and things like that. A great sport to rip. It's a lot of fun.
Huh.
But
were you a NASCAR fan before you moved down to North Carolina?
I actually was. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've been a NASCAR fan dating way back to Bill Elliott days and the early '90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it was that was a smooth transition moving to the Carolinas.
Oh, for sure. You're down in the hotbed of NASCAR down there.
I'm right in the middle of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
I got to think that those guys it seems like you got a lot of cool guys in NASCAR too. They all seem very accessible to the fans. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of jerks in NASCAR at all.
No, and there's a few.
Well, every sport has a couple, but for me, whenever I do hear NASCAR guys, they seem like, oh shucks darn kind of guy. You know, they're
exactly. One of the coolest things that happened to me is I try to tag people on Instagram. I don't know why I do it. You know, if I have a Baker Mayfield card, I'll tag Baker Mayfield. I'll tag the Browns Instagram. You know, maybe just to gain some likes or some support or for someone to see it. I don't know. Why else are we putting it on there?
Sure. Mm-hmm. Right.
I had a Mark Martin autograph patch card, and I won for myself out of a break, and I put it on there. Really sweet looking card, and he liked it. He liked it like about 5 minutes after I posted it.
Oh, awesome!
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that guy liked the fact that I had posted some of him. So that kind of shows what type of sport NASCAR is. But
yeah. Mark, I've heard just nothing but good things about him.
Yeah.
Me and Kevin need to post a Mark Martin card, and then when he likes it, we'll have to be like, "Hey, Mark, you want to be on the show?"
Right. So going along with your favorite sport to rip, what is your favorite product to rip?
Prism, 100% Prism. I'm a sucker for color. I'm a sucker for parallels. I was doing a Christian McCaffrey rainbow, different Phoenix, different types of rainbows, and I've since sold that off and focused strictly. My focus now is really just on Browns autographs and relics. I've got probably over 400 autographs and relics that I've picked up just since this past summer. I've kind of went nuts on them.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, but then now that I've kind of gotten the guys I've wanted, I'm kind of going back and just working on some color. I like orange parallels, obviously.
Yeah, those are
I like
nice.
any parallel that matches their uniform.
Yeah,
like a Browns orange on orange or red on red. That's at Prism 100%.
Nice. Well, you kind of jumped right into the next question of the who do you PC and why. You kind of started touching on that. Is it all Browns players, or do you focus on certain ones, or?
No, it's all. I've bought 1,000, 2,000 lots of Browns for $10. Just cards dating back to, because I didn't collect any football cards, back in the late 80s. Excuse me. So going back and seeing some of those old cards are great. And I collect I collect anybody and everybody. We're a team obviously with very few winning seasons, very few superstars, stars that we've spawned off onto other teams. It just doesn't matter to me. I've watched all those years, and those are my guys. And so 100%. If I was to collect anybody but the Browns, I would be, or stars for the Browns, I'd be hurting for sure. So
I think I was kind of pointing at Lauren there because he's kind of like that with the Vikings. I mean, any player. Almost doesn't matter if they're still a player or not. If it's in a Vikings uniform, I think you're good with it.
Yeah.
Right. And going back into history, you got some great
There's
old
very
school
few
players.
guys on the Vikings that I disdain. The bus, or they left the team in a poor way. Then they get shunned. But other than
two of my bigger lots that I've bought, and I'm sure bought is on the word. I bought a really nice Johnny Manziel lot, loaded full of autographs, relics, rainbows of parallels, almost 100-something cards. And I got it for like $90. But, these types of cards. And then the second one, I got this like 210 card lot of Corey Coleman. He's a receiver we had very briefly for 16, 17. I think he's with the Giants right now.
Yep.
I mean, immaculate, national treasures.
Wow.
If I had a Baker or Patrick Mahomes lot like this, it would be $10,000-$12,000. I paid like $120 for it.
Right.
So that there's a plus and a negative side of being a Browns fan. That's what it is. So.
Sure. Oh man. Yeah. That's good. I think that's going to bring us up to our 3 quick questions.
Okay.
And that kind of helps us bring the episode to a close. So do you want to start with one of them?
Should I ask him the question that came out?
Yeah, that one.
What's your favorite TV show?
Oh my gosh. Currently, it's Live PD. I'm a Live PD junkie.
Okay.
On A&E.
Yep.
It's cops, but it's way better. It's
okay.
There's just a lot more to it.
Sure.
Back in the day, I mean, I'm a diehard Knight Rider fan.
Oh,
wow.
It's gonna take me way back, but I still have the box set. I pull it out every once in a while, or I'll see some on TV and I'll watch it. So
cool. So that might be all-time favorite.
Yes, that's my all-time favorite.
All right,
absolutely.
cool. I actually have written down currently an all-time too, so it's funny that you went that direction.
It's so funny that you bring up Knight Rider, because me and my kid were just talking about Hasselhoff, and he's like, he's like just a absolute. They love him in Germany, and I'm like, oh yeah, dude, I know that.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another situation where I got to meet him at like a sportsman show. He was there with the car and on a traveling thing. They had A-Team there. They had the Ghostbusters car there.
Oh man, all those old
various
shows.
Actors there, doing signings. It was crazy. So
I think Hasselhoff's really cool because he was such a sex symbol for so long. With the Knight Rider and the Baywatch, or is that what it is? That show? Or was it Babe Watch? No. I don't know. Anyway, and now he's like taking a real self-deprecating, like these self-deprecating roles where he's kind of like the jerk boss who, or just he's I think he's evolved in a good way. I think it's kind of funny that a guy that was like a sex symbol has turned into the clown of a movie or whatever, So
right, yeah.
So the next question is favorite sports moment.
Favorite sports moment.
Now you are a Cleveland Browns fan. I guess this one might be not. I'm just kidding.
That's tough. I guess it says. I guess when the Cavs won the championship a couple years ago, that was. I was watching. When I say it's way down at the low end of the totem pole, still couldn't help but be a fan of LeBron and like what they were doing. Of course, the decision and all of those things. When he left, and then came back, it was great to have him back. I watched it and couldn't help but maybe shed a small tear. It was epic for the town to be able to win something finally.
Yeah,
it's a sport. It's a great sports town, absolutely great sports town.
Yeah,
and it deserves a lot better. So that's one that kind of quickly comes to mind.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So then the final question, unless you want to change it, that's what I went with.
Go for it, man.
All right. So the final question, favorite food.
It's probably gotta be pizza.
Yeah.
That's pretty simple. I love bagels. Bagels are not a Southern thing. Einstein bagels and Bruegler's and
sure.
That type of thing's not down here.
No.
So we get them where we can. maybe a Dunkin' Donuts or Panera or something like that. But it's bagels in the morning. I'm kind of a bagel junkie.
Yeah.
But yeah, bagels and pizza.
Bagels and pizza.
Right.
Cool.
Too many carbs, I'm sure. So
I'm there with you.
So you combine them, and do you like bagel bites then?
I love bagel bites.
Yeah. Awesome.
I put extra cheese on top of them, and I'll even I've even sliced up little bits of ham and put them on there. So
hey, that's a good idea.
yeah,
I like that. Cool, man. Well, that's gonna bring the episode to a close. If you want to hang on 1 second, we'll just chit chat. But we really appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun.
I appreciate it. You guys are great. I like what you're doing, and I'm really honored to be on.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Thanks, Bobby.
So that'll bring episode 65, Friday Night Lights interview with Bobby at Cronan Card Breaks to a close. We really appreciate you. Check them out on YouTube and Instagram. Great stuff.
Skol Brothers out.